Mega Man Starforce is a sequel set in the far future from the Battle Network series. That means there were some key mechanics that were notably removed, like the full synchro mechanic to allow double damage on the next chip slot. Why am I bringing this up? Well, that's because in Starforce, they removed it entirely. So now, when you counter an enemy, you get a random card in the folder. So a lot of creative freedom that existed in Battle Network were heavily nerfed in Starforce, especially if you want to achieve under 10 seconds against the SP bosses. But as a Mega Man veteran, I wanted to push the limits to see just how far I can actually one-shot these bosses, just like how you could do it originally in the Battle Network series. Is it possible to accomplish that in Mega Man Starforce 1? Let's find out. The first boss that you encounter is Taurus Fire, who has 1400 HP. Not a lot, surprisingly. There is a certain card in the game that does make one-shotting all the bosses possible, which you'll see me use in a bit. For now though, I wanted to try and avoid that if possible, which honestly did not last too long. Anyways though, to deal with Taurus Fire, I came up with using Ice Burst, which does damage based on how many ice panels there are. Luckily, there is a card called Ice Stage. It creates 9 of them, and since I was playing the Texas version, I had access to Aqua plus 50, so that Ice Burst dealt even more damage. I even included a few attack plus 10s just to be sure. So, with the plan in place, here was the result. I hope that the ice panel does not go away on its own. Alright, so let's put up the ice stage and then wait for a very long time for the setup to come to me. We should have no trouble getting the cards, unless I'm really lucky and the rest of the attack pluses show up on top. But even if I'm missing at least one attack plus, I think we should be fine. In fact, I think we should definitely be fine with just plus 50. Nice. Okay. Ice Burst, Aqua plus 50, 50, boom, boom, boom. Look at this. I bet you never saw anyone else use this card ever. Oh. Oh, wow, look at that. Okay. We can hit him in my row. But look at that. Pretty much one shot. Look at that. This was a pretty good start so far. Oh, and before we go any further, I did plan on using different card setup for every bosses in order to spice things up a bit. Up next is the second boss fight, Cygnus Wings. He has 100 more HP, but the worst part is that he has no elemental weakness. So this is where the legend cards come into play. When fighting some of the bosses, all your cards that you selected in battle must be used in that turn, deal at least 300 damage, at least 3 cards were used, and must be standard cards. By doing all of those, it would be recognized as a best combo, and that way, you can turn that into a legend card. Pretty simple. For Cygnus Wings, since he has no elemental weakness, I needed to rely on a new gimmick. At first, I was going to use green ink, which does damage and creates grass panels, into Ursula, as it was the strongest fire card I could use. But I would be 30 damage off, unfortunately. So instead, after wrapping my brain around this, the next best thing that I could use is Freeze Knuckle to freeze the boss, then into Break Saber, as it would deal double damage, dealing 580 damage each time, so times 3, it totals to 1740 damage. And so, here is the final result. Cygnus Wings, okay, so this is what luckily, we got this first try so that we don't have to waste our time just waiting for it to finally show up. So this is Ice Break. This should definitely be more than enough. This one, I'm gonna keep on complaining, makes me very sad. Ooh, I think we're gonna get in 0 seconds. Let's go. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, fun fact, this is a strat that I see a lot of people do. 0 seconds, let's go. Cygnus Wings, let's go. I kept zenifying it on because I'm a money grubber. Since I was at a Macon, I decided to make Cancer Bubble the next victim. Surprisingly, the strongest cards that I could use against them that would deal the most damage would be both Crooked Kick and Voltic Eye, which normally does 180 damage, but since Cancer Bubble is weak to electric cards, they actually deal 360 damage instead. This one was honestly my least favorite one since it's not as cool or flashy as some of the other ones that you will be seeing. It just felt kinda simple and basic. The next boss that I wanted to tackle is Queen Ophiuca. Apologies if I pronounced the name wrong. I never did ever since I was a kid playing this game. Now the reason I wanted to go after her next was because I had this strategy that I was really excited about. She is wood element and I wanted to use Berserk Time Bomb, which is a fire element card that deals 600 damage, which is actually 1200 damage. But with Grass Stage, it would be a 4 times multiplier. That means it will deal 2400 damage, which was insane to think about. So I jumped into the battle all fired up. Alright, look at that. We got Berserk Time Bomb. Berserk Time Bomb should be very tanky, so even if we get hits, it won't die as fast. Okay, she already did her tackle move, so we should definitely be fine if we do this. Come on, one shot. It does not one shot. No. So it was a ×3 instead. It does increase by ×1. Because if it was a ×4 multiplier, it would have dealt 2400 HP. But that was a ×3, so that was 1800. Well, a little bit more because we added 2 attack pluses, right? Oh man, no. Yup. Sadly, that didn't work as I hoped it would, which really broke me. I even tried the strategy that I originally planned for Cygnus Wings, but funny enough, that too left me with 30 HP left. So I sat there for quite some time, thinking about what kind of combo that I could be creative with. With Queen Ophiuca having a ton of HP, I had to rely on something that she would be weak against. After quite some time, I came up with Hot Wheels. So here's how that looks like. Here it is, the legendary card, Hot Wheels. Alright, so she's all the way in the back, and I think if they're like that, I can't remember if it actually hit twice or only once, but to be safe, we're gonna make sure that she isn't all the way in the back like that. But she should be like that right here. Alright, Hot Wheels. I forgot the slogan for it. It's been a long time. Oh. Hot Wheels. Let's go.
I'm feeling good.
You know what? I'm not sad about the previous strategy anymore. That was kind of funny. Alright, that's Queen Ophiuca one shot. Once that was over, I decided to head back into Echo Ridge to fight Harp. Just like Cygnus Wings, she too doesn't have any elemental weakness. Fortunately, the Freeze Noko strategy was the best way to deal with her, but in my own method that I actually came up with a very long time ago when I was a kid. Instead of using Break Saber this time, I used Jam & Punch, which is actually stronger, dealing 2100 damage in total. Unfortunately, I couldn't do anything that was entirely different, which is why on stream I was really sad that I had to use this method fighting Cygnus Wings, because I had originally planned this for Harp since she has more HP. That's just how hard it is to get really creative in this game. The last one in Echo Ridge is Libra Scales, who has a unique mechanic where he switches between water and fire element. Because using the electric chip was boring in this game, I came up with a legend card called Shower. And well, it would be funny if you just witnessed it for yourself. But the legend card here, Shower, it is all Sticky Rain. Sticky Rain being one of the best cards in the game. I did the math, it's 1650, 50 damage off, but I'm gonna believe that I misremembered how Sticky Rain, how much it actually hits. So I'm gonna believe that this is gonna one-shot him.
Time
Okay. Here comes the shower. Big shower. Okay, okay. Oh my goodness, I was definitely off. I was way off. Oh my god, my heart. To give some context as to why I was relieved here, it's because I thought Sticky Rain would hit a little less than I thought it would, when I forgot that it is literally one of the most OP cards in the game. I decided to hit up Times Square again to fight an optional boss that you can easily miss. Arguably one of the hardest boss and, at the same time, the most fun fight in the game in my opinion. He moves incredibly fast, hits quite hard, with an attack pattern that's hard to react to. He can even be enraged, which makes him move incredibly fast. Luckily, he didn't have too much HP though, so that means I can use Berserk Time Bomb. As I tested against Queen Ophiuca, discovering it deals 1800 damage with the grass panels included, it would definitely one-shot Wolf Woods. But I still need to be worried though. Like I said, he moves incredibly fast, even appearing in front of me too, where the grass panel does not exist, as using grass stage only affects the panels in the far 3 rows, which means I could miss that one-shot potential. Fortunately, I got him on the first try. Okay, here it is. Grass stage, Berserk Time Bomb. Now, will you be a good boy and stay in the grass panel? Please? Yes! Let's go! Oh my god. The second boss that we were able to one-shot without relying on the Legends card. I'm so happy that the Berserk Time Bomb worked. The few remaining bosses left were in Dream Island, one of them being Gemini Sparks, which I do have to be really careful since only one of the boss can take damage. But they do have a certain attack that they do, which makes this fight less stressful to deal with. The strategy that I originally thought of is Vulcan Seed, which I really needed it for the next fight. So instead, I used Fox Food, which is like the anti-damage chip from the Battle Network series, but instead, you have to time it against the enemy's attack and is wood element. So it was perfect. And when I used it as a legend card, I was surprised that it actually worked. Okay, I got the legend card. So I'm gonna wait for a specific attack, which is them huddling up together and charging their Gemini charge beam, so that way I hit them both instead of trying to predict where black might end up. Although I could time it right here, but I'd rather play it safe. There we are. Perfect. Anti-damage. Here comes the big damage. So watch. Box, but then it's gonna attack. Okay, okay, it worked. Just how it thought. Let's go! Anti-damage for the win. Let's go! Oh boy. Okay. The other boss in the area is Crown Thunder, whose HP is boosted all the way up to 3000. This is why I really wanted to save Vulcan Seed for. It shoots out multiple projectiles in 3 ways, but if used up close, all of the projectiles doesn't spread out and hits the enemies, dealing insane damage. Since it is a wood element card and Crown Thunder being an electric type enemy, the damage was astronomical. Crown Thunder. Alright, we got it right here. Okay, the thing about this is that we need to be at point blank range. That's how this is only gonna work. If we're like far away from it, then the seeds are gonna scatter. But if we're point blank, my entire seed won't spread out everywhere. It'll all go on him and only him. Alright, I need my seed to like be sprayed on him. That's how this is this is gonna work. And it has to work, and I need to be in front of him too.
Show him what you've got, Gio.
Oh god, he's moving fast. He's trying to get away from my seed. Oh, right here. Where do you think you're going? Here comes a big damage. Good, my seat. Oh, oh. Oh my goodness. It took 5 shots
Into next week.
to finish him off, and I sprayed my little extra at him too. With Count Thunder gone, that just leaves 2 bosses left, Andromeda and the Satellite Admin, which unfortunately I cannot one-shot them. Simply put, they have way too much HP. Andromeda Infinity having 4000 HP with no weaknesses, and Pegasus Magic, even though it has a weakness to electric cards, nothing that I could do results me one-shotting it. Even though it does have a lower HP count than Leo, who has 3500 HP, and Dragon having 3600 HP. No amount of strategy or secret tricks that I could come up with would result in me ever one-shotting the last remaining bosses in the game. Maybe if the double damage mechanic from Battle Network still existed in this game, it would be doable, but sadly, it's just not possible. So, is one-shotting every single boss in Mega Man Starforce 1 possible? Unfortunately not. Like I said before, there was no trick that would make it possible for the final boss and the satellite admins, as they have way too much HP, even if I use the legend cards. But hey, at least it was possible for most of the bosses. I would say my favorite has got to be the Ice Burst strategy against Taurus Fire, since no sane person would ever think about using it, as it is a niche card to use, and Berserk Time Bomb against Wolf Woods. So basically the ones where I didn't rely on legend cards. And if it were for those, most of the bosses wouldn't be possible, with the exception of maybe like 2 different bosses if you are playing Leo and Dragon, due to a Giga Chip exclusive in those versions. I would say my least favorite one has to be Freeze Knuckle, even though they were strong, in fact the strongest combo that you could come up with in the game. It's just that I had to rely on it twice, which made it quite dull to use. And doing all of this just made me appreciate the Battle Network series even more now, with the creative freedom that you have thanks to the full synchro mechanic to deal double damage. And if that existed in Starforce, then I would say it's probably doable. Maybe against the satellite admin, but I'm not sure about the final boss. So if you enjoyed what you saw here and you want to see more, feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more Mega Man content. And I'll see you all next time. Your fellow Z.